Welcome to JT's Vintage Card Room, hosted by me, JT. I've been thinking about making a video, but it's a little tough these days as I have all my cards in my office, which is in my basement, and going up and downstairs is a bit of a pain with this giant cast that I have on now from my Achilles surgery, which, by the way, is coming along fine. It's all been anticipated, and thank you all for your well wishes, by the way. I really wanted to do a video, and I probably will at some point this week, on the 1933 Goudey set, which I have, and would like to show some key cards from that, as well as some cards that are common that I enjoy as well. But that involves taking them out of display cases and bringing them upstairs, and I'm going to need help to do all that. Not something that I can do, by myself with one leg. So I am going to instead just do a short video on some recent pickups that I got in a auction, Sterling auction, by the way, which I am a fan of. I really only deal with about 4 or 5, maybe 6 auction houses. I've winnowed some of them down. I either don't like how they do business, and I won't mention who they are because it's really immaterial. I don't like, whatever the reasons are that I don't like them. There's more that I don't use than I do. But Sterling is certainly headed by Lee Behrens. Shout out to you, Lee. Does a really nice job. Has mostly vintage stuff in his auctions, if not almost all, and a lot of pre-war stuff as well. And interestingly enough, I mentioned pre-war, which is my main jam, as it were. 2 of the 5 cards that I have here that I'm going to show are post-war, interestingly enough. And even more interesting, I have a 60s card, which I almost never collect 60s. It's something I did when I first got back into the hobby, and mostly of the key guys like my man Pete Rose and Bob Gibson, Mickey Mantle, of course, Willie Mays, as I'm a big Willie Mays guy. These are the guys that I got cards of from the 60s. And I may actually purge my 60s collection, and maybe even part of my 50s collection is I'm really just not as enamored with them as I used to be. I enjoy looking at them, that's for sure, which means I'll probably keep them. But anyway, just some thoughts. So let's start off with the first one, which is this guy right here, Catfish Hunter's rookie. This is a card I've wanted for some time now, but as a card that's not terribly high on my list. I was very patient about getting it at the price I wanted to pay and at the condition that I wanted. I didn't really feel the need to have this be a 7 or an 8 or anything like that. I was perfectly fine with a 5.5, which is what this is. It is well centered. It is a new flip. So I guess this means it would have been a 7 10 years ago, maybe even 5. But I'm happy to add this card. It's a nice card. I'm generally not a fan of the multiplayers on one card, but 65. I mean, it's nothing like the 63s. 63s are just downright ugly to me. I think the 65s, they do a little better job, and I'm fond of the Oakland A's. As a kid, I was an Oakland A's fan. As some of you know, I am a Nationals fan these days after years of the A's just giving away their best players to their as they are. I call them the Yankee farm team. So all of our best players for years, even going back to the days of Kansas City, they gave their best players to the Yankees. So yeah, so that's pickup number 1. If there's a 50s card set that I don't really focus on, there's 2, I guess. One is the 58 Topps. I have a lot of the Hall of Famers for that, but I have not dove into completing the set, and I am a set builder. I just haven't done it. But this is a set I want to get the Hall of Famers, of course, and I want to get at least all the Hall of Famers from this set, which is the 53 Bowman. I actually just sold my 48 Bowman, which I don't, not really even sure why, but I did, and to a good friend of mine, and fortunately I was able to keep. He already had better examples on the 48 Bowman of the Musial rookie and the Berra rookie, which is really the two cards I cared most about. So I was able to sell him the set without those two cards, which made me happy. And as I said, if there's a hole in my 50s collection, this is it right here. I don't have much in the way of 53 Bowmans. I've probably maybe a dozen, maybe 15 or 20 cards tops of these, and probably maybe about a dozen Hall of Famers. So not a lot of these cards, but this is one I like. I do want to get the one with Mantle, Berra, and Bauer, I believe is the third guy on the card. Again, I don't focus much on 50s anymore, but this is a set I'd like to get more of. And this is also a fairly new flip. Doesn't start with a 1, it's an 8, which means it's probably maybe 2 or 3 years old. But today's 4s are yesterday's 6s, and I think this is a good example of what a 6 would be 5 years ago, and now a 4 fits the bill. And now we're going to get into what I like a whole lot more. And this is a set that I'm really growing fond of. And I don't know if I'll complete the whole set, but I'm definitely interested in getting the Hall of Famers. No glare with these because there's no plastic on them just yet. I'm not going to get these graded. And I might have said this in previous videos. I'm probably done with grading for a while. With all the things that are happening with SGC, I absolutely refuse to send my money to PSA. And yeah, I know if I'm sending money to SGC, I'm sending it to PSA. But I think I'm done with SGC too. So I'm just going to have these, and I'm going to keep them in. What are these? Whatever they are. A little bigger card savers. Card saver 4s, I think those are. But this is Joe Judge, who is a very good ball player in his time. And these are the 1929 Cash-In Publications set. Again, not the whole set. I have maybe 10 of these now. So always happy to add these. I don't know why I'm excited to have them, because they're all these bigger cards. I don't mind them, but they are tough to find a place to display them or store them. And that is my biggest problem, as is the biggest problem for most people who have oversized. I have managed to put some of my more desirable Cash-In Publication cards on top of display cases, hanging on top of them, which is, kind of leaning them against, and that looks great. But I only have 6 or 7 display cases, so there's limited cards that I can put on top of them. But Joe Judge, good ball player. The other one I have, I'm going to take it out of its card saver. It's Hall of Famer Sam Rice. I really like this one. Sam Rice is, I believe, the only Hall of Famer throughout his entire career with a minimum of 5,000 at-bats to never hit below 290 at any point in his career. End of year, of course. There might have been others that have, but he's the only one never to hit below 290. So even the all-time greats like Ty Cobb and Shoeless Joe Jackson and Rogers Hornsby and Hannes Wagner, all these guys that were just crazy good, with much higher lifetime batting averages than Sam Rice, all at one point hit below 290, even if it was for 1 year, for a short, maybe a year they didn't play a full year. But even so, I believe Sam Rice is the only one. Say in the comments if I'm wrong on that, but I think I did that research probably a couple years ago, and for some reason that stat sticks in my head. So Sam Rice. And finally, Paul Waner, Big Poison, brother of Lloyd. Or really, I should say Lloyd is brother of Paul, since they're both Hall of Famers, but Paul was certainly the better player of the two. And again, these cash-ins, the The glare's terrible here. These cash-ins are really, they're doing it for me lately. I have a couple that are on their way back from an SGC order, which is taking longer than it should. Another reason why I'm probably not going to be grading anymore. I'm not going to get into that more. Anyway, so yeah, these are really cards I'm starting to get into. I don't have a lot of cards in the 20s. I have a ton in the 30s. I have a ton in the teens, but very little in the 20s. And between these cash-ins from 1929 and I think it's 1922, the E120 American Caramel, those I like too. These are probably the two sets in the 20s that I'm going to focus on, but they are all blank backs. So yeah, that's my video for today. I'm not going to go crazy. At some point, like I say, I hope to do a Goudy show, and I don't know if I'll break it up into two parts or just do one, but that's it for today. And remember, all we're doing is trading paper for cardboard. Speaking of which, I have shirts that I'll do that in my next video too. I just got shirts made. I'll probably bring a couple to Strongsville to hand out to a select few that I meet. So yeah, just trading paper for cardboard. Do it responsibly, but that's all it is. Enjoy your day, everybody.